Okay. So welcome to the Landmarks Committee September meeting. We have two items on our agenda. We have approval of the minutes from June, which included only our discussion of district needs. And we have a presentation today from Richard Moses to explain a resolution that we would like to consider approving. So let's do the minutes first. Is anyone opposed to approving the June minutes?
No.
Okay, so be it. And the floor is yours, Richard.
Oh, thanks. I'm Richard Moses from the Lower East Side Preservation Initiative. I'm here with my fellow board members, Laura Sewell and Deborah Y. And we're here to ask for the support of your committee for a resolution supporting historic preservation and kind of sensible development in Community Board 3. And Community Board 1 passed a resolution a few months ago to this effect. And part of the resolution was actually to welcome other community boards to go ahead and pass similar resolutions. So I thought, well, let's talk to our friends at CB3 and see if they would be open to it. And so, Linda, I think I sent you a copy of a draft of a resolution a few weeks ago.
Sure.
And I don't know if everybody has a copy of that draft.
Well, people have copies, but I think it'd be nice to put it up. And then if we want to edit anything, it'll be right handy.
Oh, okay. Are you going to put it up or should I?
I will.
You want me to read it, Linda, or I can certainly
I'm
do
looking at
that.
the copy you sent out yesterday, Linda.
Yes, that's correct. It's just what I sent out. I haven't changed it. Richard, if you want to take us through it, that would be splendid.
Okay, great. Should I read it or just summarize it?
Summarize.
Summarize. We
And
can.
we'll, if anyone wants to propose any edits, we'll put them in.
Okay, so you know, basically that the whereases find that New York has a reasonable balance between development and respecting history and quality of life. That the Landmarks Commission is supposed to, of course, designate landmarks. That many of the there are many civic organizations that support landmarking, and however, in the last few years, the city leadership has prioritized development over historic preservation in many neighborhoods. And one example of this is the is 250 Water Street in the South Street Seaboard Historic District. I know this is not in Community Board 3, but it was something that we saw and a lot of people saw as a very bad precedent for approvals. This is a new building within a historic district, and the South Street Seaport Historic District, I'm sure you all know, is really primarily 4- and 5-story buildings. And this new building was, I think, about 300 feet in height. Yeah, that clearly completely out of scale with the historic district and very obstructive. So this was something that clearly, at least in our view, there's a good chance that the Landmarks Commission was getting a lot of pressure on this. And David, did you have a question?
No, I want to reorganize the whereases, so I'll wait till you finish.
Okay,
Oh,
do
okay.
that after we finish the summary, okay?
Yeah, I just want,
Can you put up the next page, Linda?
Sure.
Also, the Soho NoHo upzoning will have a huge effect on the Soho and NoHo historic districts because there'll be added pressure from developers to circumvent the appropriateness standard that the Landmarks Commission is supposed to stand by. And with 250 Water Street has shown that they're not always willing to stick to a strict appropriateness standard. So again, more development pressure and proposals coming from the city that are at odds with preservation, with reasonable zoning in our view. And another issue is that the Landmarks Commission has not designated any historic districts within CB3 south of Houston Street, including the area around the Tenement Museum. And this is, one of the most historically and architecturally important areas of the country for its artistic, political activists and architectural and immigration history. So also the CB3 has included a list of historic buildings in its district needs statement over the years. And to our knowledge, they really have not been LPC has not been acting on it. So we're suggesting that the resolution would call for reining in inappropriate development. At LESPI, we're not opposed to all development, but we feel that it should be appropriate to any historic district in terms of its scale, its material, its solid void relationships, which really means, how many windows it has versus the walls, that type of thing. And that the zoning limits should be respected, and even if there are upzonings, it should be done in a contextual way with the surrounding area, whether it's historic or not historic, and not just do blanket upzonings, which is what we're seeing with the Soho NoHo historic district. The upzoning is going to lead to buildings that are 2.5 times the height of
you don't have to read it.
zoning. So also inviting other community boards to express support for this effort, and that's the basics. Now in blue are LESPI's additions to the CB1 resolution. So what I did was I really just took the CB1 language verbatim, put it into a new document, and added the text that's in blue. And so what we'd be hoping for is a resolution incorporating both the CB1 language and the language that LESPI has added.
Very
I don't
good.
know if there are any questions.
I would suggest that where we talk about LPC has not designated any historic districts within Community Board 3.
South of Houston Street.
Yeah. They actually haven't designated anything south of Houston Street since 2012. So I don't know if we want to throw that date in there. That strikes me. It's 8 years without any attention is pretty striking. And in fact, north of Houston, 2013. I think that's when the East Village Historic District was designated.
Yeah, or 2012, I think, yeah.
So in the whole CD3 since 2013, there've been no designation.
Yeah, I think that'd be good to add, sure.
Can I say that overall, Richard, I think.
Raise your hand.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I have my hands up,
Let's go with David, and then we'll have you, Sandra, but do put your hand up so we won't all be interrupting each other.
I don't have problem with the resolution as it says, but I think the structure it's not sequential. For instance, the first paragraph should actually be come after what's the fifth one, because you're explaining what's the first paragraphs 2, 3, and 4, and 5 are telling you what the history is. And then the first paragraph tells you how we process it. So first we have to say what we are doing, and then you say how we have the mix.
Okay, I don't have any quarrel with that. So I'm cutting this out, and I'll make sure I'm putting it in the right place. Did you want it here?
I'm looking at the.
Whereas many of?
Well, I'm looking at the, I'm looking at what you sent. I'm not looking at what's on the mixed screen. It comes a little blurry on my screen. I don't know why I have like a double printing.
That's what you intended. Let me put it there and then see if it makes sense.
But it says over the years we have the rules. Another milestone was we did this, and then we could have the city have historic districts to keep for the importance of it, and civic organizations have an interest, and New York City has found a reasonable balance
Okay, that's
between the two.
Okay.
I think that's what we're trying to say. Then I think we should come to the 9th paragraph, because 7 and 8 are subdivisions of the 9th, they're like bullet points to the 9th. Whereas in the past 3 years, city leadership has prioritized the development over the preservation of many historic districts. And then,
you lost me.
let's see, let me make sure I'm copying it right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, no.
That's 6 is all right. 6 is where it is.
Words of the paragraph.
Paragraph 9, 7, 8. Whereas we are seeing more and more unreasonable processes of changes where they're not watching out for the landmarking, and you have 7 and 8 are 2 examples of it.
Correct.
So you could have that paragraph 9 as the emphasis, and then 2 bullet points, 7 and 8.
Oh, make it bullet points instead of other whereases?
Yeah, because it's all saying the same thing.
Okay, I'll have to.
9 is saying what 7 and 8 is. So 7 and 8 are examples of what we're saying 9 is.
Okay. That's cool.
Okay.
Linda, I think he's looking at the one above what you have highlighted, though.
I'm sorry, I can't look at what.
I know, I think he read the one that said we are seeing more and more.
Yeah, that's the important, that's the concept we're trying to emphasize. We're seeing unreasonable and unpopular developments, and 2 examples are the paragraphs before it.
Yeah, I think I got what you mean. These two paragraphs that are in blue are examples of the
The 2 that have a little bit of blue.
Yeah, I got you.
And then we go where.
I don't think, I'm so sorry.
I don't think you got me there. As the paragraph that starts, whereas we're seeing more and more unreasonable and unpopular developments, that's the main paragraph, that's 9.
Yeah.
Then the ones where we have the 2 examples of them abusing what you consider abusing the concept of landmarking by not taking, by ignoring the concept of landmarking. You have in 7, we're about to talk about 250 Water Street, and the general one about Lower Manhattan of Soho NoHo. Those are examples of their abuse, of their ignoring the concept of meshing together.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, wait a minute here. You're reordering things in a way that I wasn't paying attention to. Laura's right.
Okay.
So hang on there.
Okay. And I think
Really?
then you have 2 blue paragraphs. I think the second one should come first.
Oh, David, since you can't see it, this is very difficult.
What?
Let her catch up with you first, David.
Okay.
You're going too fast.
All right. Well,
So I'm back at a paragraph that says, whereas in the past few years, city leadership has prioritized development over the preservation of many of our historic neighborhoods. And then the next paragraph is an example of that, correct?
well.
So that would be a bullet, I think.
No.
I'm just trying to clarify that that's what David means.
No, the whereas, stands alone, that's okay. Whereas if the city has prioritized development of preservation of neighborhoods, then the whereas we are seeing more and more unreasonable and popular development proposals, well, they can be joined together, actually, it's the same concept. They can be one long whereas.
Oh, boy, no, I don't want a long whereas, absolutely not.
It's not a long whereas, but it's the whereas, both of them are saying basically the same thing.
All right,
But he's wanting to move the second paragraph.
These 2 paragraphs.
That whereas the past few city leadership prior development,
Yeah.
that's saying the same thing as you're saying we're seeing more and more unreasonable and popular developments. That's the same, it's part of the same concept.
Okay.
And then the two examples are the paragraphs in between.
Stop, wait. Okay, so now we are seeing more and more unreasonable and then popular. And then the next two paragraphs are.
And then, well, and then 7 and the two paragraphs above would be bullet points emphasizing what we're saying.
You understand that we do not have numbers, and so we don't know what paragraph.
I understand. I'm
You
going to make that recommendation next time around.
Talk in terms of the words, not of the
Well,
paragraph.
so the ones we have to give the examples, those are bullet points. The examples are 250 Water Street, the Seaport, and then the Soho NoHo.
Right.
Those are two examples of what we're saying, that they're not balancing the act.
All right. I will necessarily do some rewording here.
Okay.
Makes
And
sense.
the,
Does
and the
this make
book
sense
goes
to
back.
everybody? Richard, you proposed this resolution, so I want to make sure this makes sense to you.
Do you have any,
But yeah,
Rich, you
it
have any
does.
problems with saying until now?
No, it's fine. Absolutely.
Anything else, David?
Okay, then I would, then let's see, whereas
That's the LPC.
each year, then we go to 11, whereas each year the community board 3, whereas each year community board 3 has included in its district needs a list of historic buildings worthy consideration. And then we go to the paragraph above it, whereas LPC has not designated any historic distance within the community south of Houston.
Right, so
And we
reverse those two blue paragraphs, Linda.
Yeah, reverse the blue paragraphs and then have the third blue paragraph.
Wait, slow down.
Okay. And then you could put the
I'm
third
editing
blue.
I'm editing,
I'm sorry.
not able to see what I'm doing, which is very unsettling.
Yeah, I know, but I have faith in you.
Yeah, well, gotta get you a computer that works.
No,
Okay, so
I
now
have faith in you, not my computer.
we have, David, we have the 2 bullet points.
Okay, then
The
you
next
have the whereas,
each
and
year.
after the bullet points comes whereas each year community board 3 has included its
Right.
district needs.
Right,
That's the next paragraph. Then the next blue paragraph, LPC should pay
that's not.
should pay that. Well, we're saying what's happening now is LPC is not doing it, whereas then there come the resolutions. I'm sorry, that's the
Right.
list.
Right,
Therefore, be it resolved that we should pay attention to what we're asking for. Therefore, be it resolved that public officials. We're talking to the LPC first. Those are the people we're dealing with. Then then we go to the public officials.
So whereas LPC and public officials?
You can
No,
put them
the-
together, but if you want, you can. I don't care if you keep them separate because LPC is our primary target here.
he's saying that the blue paragraph, starting with the LPC, should go before the public official paragraph. Because
Yeah, because
asking-
we're dealing with LPC. We don't deal with the
Right.
public officials.
But in this case, LPC might be doing something very different if it were not receiving pressure from the mayor.
That's why you can put them in, but we can't assume that.
Why not?
You may be 100% right, but to make that assumption would put us at odds with the LPC. We have to assume they're being honest brokers.
So what are you saying? What comes after therefore it be resolved?
Then the second, be it further resolved that public officials included, I don't know yet, you don't have to say including those running for mayor, but public officials include everybody who
Oh,
gets
so you want
elected.
to reverse these two,
Right,
the LPCs and the public officials?
right.
You can put it together if you want.
No, I don't want to put it together.
Okay, and then be
Hold
it
on,
further,
David, hold on.
okay.
What do you think? Have I got it right now?
Yeah,
I hope so. Yeah, and then the last, be it further resolved, that's the last one.
right.
The CB3 invited the community boards to adopt this or similar.
Thank you. That was well done.
Yeah.
Fine blind.
Thank you.
I hate to take Mr. Morris's line, but any questions?
I think it's good. I will email this to you, David, tonight after I edit a little bit and make sure I got your ideas.
Okay,
correct.
Well, I think, I think that's the progression, the logic that we use.
Yes, it progresses well. Sandra, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to say to Richard, I think this is a really bad idea that we get all the CB3s involved, all this, all the CBs involved, the community boards, because they haven't done anything for the last 6 years that I've been to designate anything. And I was just looking at, we have some very important history in New York City just as itself, it's one of the oldest cities in the country, right? But we have to fight for designation. We have the 4th oldest building in CB3 in the whole city, right? And they just, it's on 18 Bowery. It's called
Mooney House,
yes,
Well,
Edward Mooney House.
but that's designated at least, so.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't have any districts, and we need
And you wanted
districts
to
to
talk,
tag.
if we finish this resolution first, Sandra.
Oh,
and
no, but
we can
that's why I
talk
wanted to make,
about- Yeah, I
no,
know.
that's why I wanted to make my comment earlier after Richard spoke. That's it.
Yeah, no, I want you to make them after we approve this resolution. And then Richard, Sandra had some questions about the Lower East Side Historic District, and I thought, you know more about this than any of us. Not that you get all that much communication either, but we could talk about the status of things.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, so committee, anything else we should do with this resolution before we consider it? David, you still have your hands up? Did you mean that?
Oh, no, I didn't get back to you. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I have to go back to Zoom.
I can put your hand down.
Oh, thank you. It's getting tired.
Yeah. So committee, all in favor of this resolution, please say yes.
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 I hear 3 yeses. Who didn't say?
Yes.
I said yes, 4. Okay, that's it. Resolution passes. We thank you very much, Richard, for bringing this to our attention and doing such a
Thank
good
you.
job of organizing it.
Well, thank you. And thanks, David, for editing it. That's appreciated.
Yep, David's a good editor.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
now, Sandra, you ask your questions about the Lower East Side Historic District.
No. That was what I wanted to say. I don't have any more
You
questions.
wanted to make a speech, but I wanted Richard to tell everyone in the room, the committee and the others, what's going on with it.
Okay, well, I wish I had good news, but I don't. The LPC started looking at our proposed, ours and Friends of the Lower East Side's proposal for what the Landmarks Commission is calling a possible Lower East Side Tenement Historic District, which goes primarily Orchard Street is the spine, starting at Delancey Street, where the Tenement Museum is. And our proposal goes south to Canal Street. And it goes from Forsyth to Essex Street. So we proposed that about going on 7 years ago to the Landmarks Commission. They cut down the size of what they wanted to look at to basically, talking from memory, from Forsyth to Ludlow and Delancey to just north of Broome Street. So Broome Street would not be included in that, which we were okay with as a start. We're happy with whatever we can get at this point. So they've been looking at that probably for 5 or 6 years, studying it, looking at the individual buildings. They started to do outreach right before the pandemic, or I guess actually maybe about 9 months before the pandemic. They started doing outreach to the building owners. And we had some of our board members who were at the outreach. 2 of our board members who were able to attend. One one because he works for the city council. He works for city council, and another one who's represents a property owner. And we were told by both of them that the hearings went very well, and there wasn't a lot of objections to the historic district. You know, we were told by Landmarks, or the person I've been dealing with at Landmarks, that the meeting didn't go very well. So that's a little confusing. But they were doing outreach in English and in Chinese, and they had translated some of the LPC materials. Can't remember whether it was Mandarin or Cantonese or both, but apparently the translations weren't very good, so they had to have the translations redone again. And they've been trying to contact, they were trying to contact a lot of the building owners again, apparently through the time that the pandemic hit. And then once the pandemic hit, they really put the district on hold. And you know, it's kind of, it's understandable. I mean, building owners have been hurt because of closing of retail, and it's a difficult time. But we also feel that you know, when you walk around downtown, anywhere in the Lower East Side, it seems like everybody's out on the street, everybody's in the restaurants, you know, people are shopping. So it's not a ghost town down here. And, you know, if they're going to say that they can't do anything because of these hardships, you know, we'd like to have some real solid information on that, not just as a write-off, talking in generalities. So I've been trying to contact the Landmarks Commission for the last month or so and haven't gotten through. And I have to, this is an aside, it doesn't represent LESPI, it represents me. I happen to be happy that they're going back to the offices because maybe I will be able to get a hold of somebody there. So that's, you know, but that's neither here nor there. That's my personal opinion, being frustrated with this, you know, the system of trying to reach people only through email very often. So that's kind of where we are. I need to get an update from them. Now, they were supposed to give us an update in July. They never did. So, you know, I'm waiting for word. And we're going to be meeting to discuss strategies moving forward. Like, how do we step on the gas a little bit in terms of our advocacy? You know, how do we push them a little bit harder? And what are our options going forward? So that's something that we're going to be meeting on later this month, and trying to come up with some strategies that will hopefully have an effect on getting things to move forward, or at least getting the process to be taken what we believe should be a little bit more seriously.
Richard, are they back in their offices?
As of today.
Oh.
Yeah. As of today. So I was expecting that call to come in, but no.
We have, Deborah, you have your hand up.
Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, I just, I want to say that Richard and I had a very nice meeting with Christopher Mate to introduce him to some of the historic district issues. And
well, actually, could I just interrupt for a minute? Our meeting with Christopher Mate was specifically about the amphitheater.
Yeah,
So that was specifically about the amphitheater. And then he asked about the historic districts, because we don't meet with candidates.
Yeah.
But
okay.
we were meeting with him because he'd been involved with the amphitheater preservation at the East River Park. And that's something that we've been trying to, you know, to get a better handle on in terms of, you know, how the history, the very interesting history of the site can be acknowledged and kind of celebrated.
At some point, maybe I put together one of my presentations about the amphitheater. So maybe this committee would be interested in that at some point when we're a little further down the line on the amphitheater. But another thing I wanted to say was just that I've been looking into more about LPC's designation history, because for our individual landmark requests, they continually say to us that imply that their focus is on the other boroughs and not in Manhattan. And I did look in terms of historic districts, there are 81 historic districts and extensions in Manhattan. and just nothing in the Lower East Side below Houston Street, which just seems shocking given the historic nature of our neighborhood. That all kinds of historic districts all over Manhattan, but not
here.
here.
I was
Yeah.
wondering if we could make the case that we need to be treated in some way similarly to the outer boroughs, in that we are a neglected area.
Yeah.
I mean, Chinatown, Zippo. I mean,
I know.
nice
Unbelievable.
the Kim Lau Monument, but you can see why that was politically a good idea. But and I'm glad they did it. But there's a lot more that could be done, as especially Deborah, you're busy surveying these things.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
just-
the history is interesting. I don't know. Have you encountered Christabel Goff?
I
know
know Christabel Golf a bit, yeah.
she has absolute total records of every LPC meeting, I think, since the very beginning. And every certificate of appropriateness meeting, took notes. She's always there. And if you're looking at the history of the LPC, I can't think of a better person to get in touch with, frankly. And she's just quite nice and as I say, very knowledgeable. So Richard, you probably have her email. I do.
Mm.
Send it to you.
I also don't know if all priorities will change if the composition of the commission changes with the new administration. So I don't know what to think about that in terms of the future.
Right, we do have to, we don't have much control over that, but.
I think our assumption at this point is that it's going to be fairly consistent with what we've been seeing. We're just hoping for the best, but in terms of would be surprised by any major shifts. I could be wrong. Eric Adams, he showed up at the protest to save 70 Mulberry Street, so that we were thrilled, to see him there. That was last summer. One summer ago, I should say. Well, we're still in this summer. Yeah, last summer.
That was maybe just as a politician, so we have to know.
Yeah, that could very well be.
Every protest, Christopher Martes at every protest on the right side of things, as far as we're concerned.
Absolutely.
How much of that's politics? How much of that is deep belief that will carry on into his, term in office? I'm waiting to find out.
Well, we're feeling pretty optimistic. When Deborah and I met with him, we met for like 45 minutes, with him and discussed a whole range of things. And he wasn't in any rush to leave or looking at his watch or, that type of thing, right? Wasn't that your impression, Deborah, also?
Yes, yeah. Also, he was born and raised on the Lower East Side, and he's just deeply concerned about it. So, yeah, it was good.
Once he gets elected, we'll need to make a more formal effort to meet with him.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is he's going to be elected, so it's your idea that you don't meet with candidates is probably a formality.
It is a formality, yeah. But I think we try to go by the books, so we really did ask for the meeting for the amphitheaters, and then he asked about what else we were up to.
Did you talk to him about the historic restrooms?
We did talk a little bit about that, right, Deborah? Yeah.
Well, and he was just telling us that he runs on the track in front of the track house, so he's particularly concerned about the track house, which was
Well,
yeah.
Okay, anyone else have anything they'd like to talk about informally before we conclude our meeting? Okay, it's a short meeting, but I think a productive one. I will see what the full board does with this resolution. I can't think that they would have any reason not to approve it.
Can I ask one question? If the full board does approve it, do you think that the board will be able to help us to reach out to maybe Community Board 1? I tried to contact them, Community Board 2. I tried to contact them. I didn't have luck, but maybe, maybe there's a way to reach out to them, through channels aside from through their website.
Right, right. Well, if, depending on, I don't know whether, everybody's so overworked in the office that I always hesitate to ask for anything. Susan could reach out to her counterparts in the other community boards, but I suspect we'd do better maybe working with HDC or something. Probably a number of these landmark chairs are on their list. And that would help us get to the other community boards. We should
Yeah,
try on informal contacts first, I think.
I think I can help with that too, Richard. I wasn't aware that you didn't get a response, but yeah, let's get the CB3 full board approval, and then you're in a whole different place.
Then we
And-
have two resolutions that we can bundle together, Community Board 1 and Community Board 3.
Yeah.
I mean, the
And
other thing
thanks-
is through Borough Board, I mean, you can, Community Board politics, if the chair embraces this, then she might take it to Borough Board and see if they can get, if Gail would reach out to all of the Community Board chairs. So
Right.
there are other ways, but I like trying on our own first. I know some of them, and you do, Laura. So
Yeah. And I just want to say thanks, Sandra, and everyone for the conversation about strategy, because I think we've highlighted something very important in that we really are, we know who we are here downtown. We know how we get treated. So I think we do have to shine a light on that. We're Manhattan when it's convenient to be, and not Manhattan when they're handing out the prizes
Yeah.
over and over, right?
Well,
CB2 has a very active landmarks committee.
Yeah,
I
they've
would
just been-
imagine that they would be in support of this resolution.
yeah,
I would think so too.
I think they've had their hands full, and it was August, so I think we
Yeah,
will
I
get
think
this. and-
all of us in this pandemic, Zoom, world that we're in, we're not in, there's not even any social occasions. You didn't meet these people at parties, but we're not having parties. So,
All right, we'll get there.
so it's on all of our minds, and we should reach out to the people we know and keep in touch with each other, and see where we go with it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much,
Thank you
everybody.
very much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you very much, Richard, and thank you, David, for your good help. And, that's it. I guess I gotta take.
Do a roll call.
I don't have to have roll call. I'll just take note with my own brain here. Since I only have to count 4 people, I think I can handle it. Okay.
You can do it with the other hand.
All is called. Thank you very
You
much.
can count that on one hand.
That's right, luckily. 2 hands I did.
Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Good
everybody.
night.